Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Academy Award picks of the Roundtable. Guys, as you know, this is quite literally my favorite time of the year. It is the best time of year. As you know, I'm here with the great Nicholas Enriquio. Nick, how are you?
Good. I feel like I'm going into like the Super Bowl season now.
I know.
Oscars are they're so big for us.
I know. My camera's conveniently framed so that you can't see the mess that's like everywhere of all the sheets I have, of all the stuff that we've been doing. Um, I can't describe how seriously I take this, and like there are no stakes. Like it means nothing in
There are
reality.
to us.
But
It
man,
has meaning because we give it meaning.
man, when I start my picks, I take it very seriously. And I'm like, I gotta know how I'm gonna strategize this. So, in the means of doing a live show with everyone, I did want to take a second to kind of say that we're not going to be doing every single category because we'd be here all night. And we still want to try to get to the box office since it's our early week show. If we don't have time, we will make up for it, but we still want to try to get to it. So we're going to cut down some of the categories. Here are the categories that we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing Best Original Score, Best Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, Actor, Actress, Picture. So we're in for a decent haul. A
And
decent
even
haul.
with those cut down, we still might be here all night.
There's a big chance we'll be here all night.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
So
Depends on how crazy our picks are.
and listen, by the way, we don't know each other's picks.
We do not.
I'm sure at some point a fight's gonna break out. And, a playful, respectful fight at that. But it's gonna be something. So before we do that, before we give our picks, let's start with Best Original Score, Nicholas.
That's
I
original score. Got it.
took the liberty of taking some of the critics groups and printing out their choices to kind of give some context for what people in the industry are thinking for these particular categories. And particularly for score, just a sec. Should have got my shit together ahead of time. I'm aware of this, but damn it. Here's where we're at. For Best Original Score, the BAFTA Awards, the British Oscars essentially, nominated The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, and The Wild Robot. The Critics' Choice Awards nominated Conclave, The Brutalist, The Wild Robot, Emilia Perez, Challengers, and Doom Part 2. However, it should be noted Doom Part 2 is not eligible for the Academy Award because why should we have anything nice in the world? Nicholas, I'm throwing you to the wolves, buddy.
Oh boy.
You are going first. So, my guy, what are your picks for Best Original Score?
Take it to us here. Do you want to pull up our handy dandy sheet?
Sure.
There we go. All right. So I just copy and pasted mine in there. My picks
Ooh.
for are going now. We are guessing what's going to be nominated. It's not necessarily my favorite scores. Sometimes it is, but we'll stick with it. So I'm going The Brutalist, which was my favorite movie from the past year. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go Conclave. I'm gonna go Challengers because how could I not? That one was my favorite score from last year. I know that was controversial, but I think that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I
Yep.
may have flipped that, did a phenomenal job with it. Wicked and Amelia Perez. Now, I'd like to note at the top of the show here, I was not a huge fan of Amelia Perez. However, it's getting all the buzz, so you're going to see it pop up in a few categories for me.
And listen, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
completely fair. My list is going to be a little bit similar to yours. Here are my picks for Best Original Score, and then I'll cut to the chart once you have them in there. I made this very inconvenient for you. Thanks for working with me. I have Challengers, The Brutalist, Conclave, The Wild Robot, and Emilia Perez. Now, I'm going to take a couple seconds to say a few sentences to give Nick some time to get all those typed in before I switch to that wide, because, it's the least I can do as his friend, naturally. That's what we try to do whenever we can.
Got it.
Great,
We're in.
excellent. So, yes, those are my picks right there for you. Very similar. I did not go Wicked. I went Wild Robot.
Hmm.
I went Wild
That's fair. Wild Robot gave a great score.
And my personal thinking for that was Wicked is a musical. So a lot of the music in Wicked already existed. Not that it didn't have a good original score, it did. Same with
Mhm.
Emilia Perez, which I also nominated. But I feel like the distinction in Emilia Perez's score to its music with lyrics is more distinct than Wicked's. And therefore I went with Wild Robot personally. But those are my picks for score. I don't think your choices are crazy. I think we did pretty good there.
We do.
Needless to say.
I would love to see. Honestly, the one I want to see get the most recognition is Challengers for me personally.
Oh,
But I wouldn't be
Challengers,
upset.
yeah.
I think I kind of put Wicked in there because it's like it's a musical. I would hope the music's good, and I know that a lot of it is pre-existing information. I don't know. Has a animated movie ever been nominated for best original score?
That is an
Like
excellent
to the
question
Wild Lobot?
that I
I
do
don't
not
know
know
the
the
answer
answer
on that.
to. So if anyone's watching live and you know the answer, please comment it and we'll give you a shout out because I legitimately have no idea. Because I want to say Up. I want to say Up and I want to say I don't think Inside Out did because I think it was a point that it didn't and people were like, how did that not get it? My brain's going crazy. So if you know the answer, please put it in the comments below. We're going to move on to the next
Oh,
category.
hold on. I found it quickly.
Oh,
Up and Lion King both won.
Up. Okay, so I knew Up. Lion
Yeah,
King, that makes total sense.
Up for Michael Giacchino and Lion King by Hans Zimmer.
Now I'm going to get back into it. Why didn't Inside Out? That score's excellent. Anyway, moving on to the next category, Nicholas, we're going to do Best Editing.
All right. Best editing. Do you want to go first on this one, or do you want me to? Since I can just copy
You know
and
what?
paste pretty quick.
I'll go first. I'll go first on Best Editing. Let me
All
cut
right,
to a single here.
hit me with
So
it.
before we hit it, the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Editing had Anora, Challengers, Conclave, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, and September 5. Or September 5th. I've heard conflicting things on how to say the title properly. The BAFTAs had Anora, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, and Kneecap. I don't know what Kneecap is. And I went a little bit deeper for this one. The ACE, the Editors Guild, nominated the following films: Civil War, Conclave, Doom Part 2, Emilia Perez, Furiosa, and then for their comedy theatrical, Anora, Challengers, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked. So, in case you thought this was an easy category, it fucking wasn't, because they had so many picks. But, nonetheless, I have my picks. My picks are as follows, and I'll say them a bit slowly so you have time to type them in, buddy. Dune Part 2, Conclave, Anora, Challengers, and September 5. Now, it should be pointed out, I'm going to cut to the wide here. It should be pointed out, I have not seen September 5 yet. But in doing my research about that film, because it has a lot of buzz, and it could potentially get nominated for some serious awards, I've heard that the editing particularly is exceptional. So, with that said, I went ahead and put it in this category, Sight Unseen, just to see if it will work. That is my 5 films for Best Editing, personally. And, films that I think actually have a chance of getting nominated. Nicholas, go ahead and break down yours since you popped them in there.
Yeah, I went with The Brutalist, Conclave, Anora, Dune Part 2, and Emilia Perez. I put Brutalist on there. One, again, it was again my favorite movie from the past year, and so I'm hoping that it does sort of take home a lot of technical awards. I think it's worthy of that. Conclave and Anora. Anora is actually sight unseen for me. I haven't had a chance to catch that
that's
one
right.
yet.
That's right.
But I've been kind of going with what just the vibes I've been seeing online and everything. Dune Part 2 was great. Conclave, I thought, was the editing of that movie, I think, is the most important to telling that story in terms of the pacing of how everything is playing out.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that one was of importance. And I put Emilia Perez. I feel like people are going to be, Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Editing. I think it's going to be kind of a scenario where that might sneak in there as well.
Let me point this out. I called Bohemian Rhapsody winning Best Editing, and I will never let anyone live it down.
You did.
I did.
You did.
I remember it till the day I die. Not that I wanted it to. Please, God, do not misinterpret that. But I just knew that it would. I knew that it would.
He just got it right. Yeah.
Yes. So, Nicholas, with that down, let's go ahead and move on to Best Adapted Screenplay, shall we? And before you give your picks, I'm going to go ahead and read off what the guilds did, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
So, if you allow me a second just to get my shit together here. Adapted Screenplay at the BAFTAs were A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Adapted Screenplay with the Critics' Choice, Emilia Perez, Wicked, Sing Sing, Nickel Boys, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and the WGA ones, Nicholas, they get nutty because there were a couple films that were not eligible. So here's Adapted Screenplay from the WGA. A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Hitman, and Wicked. I love seeing Hitman get nominated. I think that film's great. But with that down, I'm cutting to your single first, buddy.
Oh, boy.
What were your picks for Best Adapted Screenplay?
Yep, I went with Conclave, Complete Unknown, Sing Sing, Wicked, and Nickel Boys. I will say there are two sight unseens for me on this one. That is Complete Unknown as well as Nickel Boys. We did, as part of the Critics Association we're part of, I believe we were sent the screenplay for Nickel Boys. So I had thumbed through that a little bit, and I thought it was a really nice screenplay that they were working on there. And Complete Unknown is based on Bob Dylan biography, I believe.
Yes.
But to me, honestly, I think that Sing Sing and Conclave are probably the front runners for me in this category.
Okay. Very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and give you my picks.
Hit me with it.
And I want to say, this is the category, the screenplay categories, and there's one more that I don't want to get into. I struggled with these quite a bit, because there's plenty of options here. Best Adapted Screenplay for me, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Wicked, A Complete Unknown, and Sing Sing. I really struggled with if I was going to nominate Nickel Boys in this category, because it is based on a book that's widely acclaimed. But each time I looked at these nominees, I was like, I don't know what to get in there. And I kind of have the disadvantage of I've never read the book that Nickel Boys is based on, but I have seen, for example, the Wicked musical. So I know from just watching it, like, oh, that's a very interesting adaptation. I also, Dune Part 2, interesting adaptation from half of the book. And, I just thought Conclave was a great movie. I thought Complete Unknown was interesting, but it's getting a lot of acclaim, so I wanted that to kind of be in there as well. And Sing Sing, I thought, was just an excellent film. So that's kind of...
From what it seemed like, though, with Wicked, from speaking with people who've seen the play, it seemed like a lot of it was kind of a lot of crossover with the play. So I'm wondering if that would kind of hurt its chances, since they were literally pulling like dialogue and jokes from it.
Maybe that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
That is entirely possible. Nicholas, with that down, we're going to dive into Best Original Screenplay. I'll give my picks, but first, let's look at the guild, shall we? Next time, I'm going to make this a lot more organized, everyone. I promise. Although, it must be a little bit fun seeing me just flipping these pages. All right. The BAFTAs for Original Screenplay had Honora, The Brutalist, Kneecap popping up again, A Real Pain, and The Substance. The WGA. Now, this gets really nutty, Nicholas, because, again, the WGA, there are a lot of films that weren't, eligible.
Mm-hmm.
A Real Pain, Honora, Challengers, Civil War, and My Old Ass. Good for My Old Ass. I love that movie. Glad it got nominated. Has no shot of getting
that title.
Has no shot of getting the Oscar nomination, but I loved that movie. And Original Screenplay for Critics' Choice. Honora, September 5, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Challengers.
I haven't. Is September 5 playing anywhere near us? I feel like I haven't seen anything about that.
Not yet. And each time they had a screening for it, I couldn't go. It was like perfectly timed where I couldn't go.
Gotcha.
Now, let's dive into my picks, the real ones for Best Original Screenplay.
Yes, hit me with it.
Again, I struggled with this greatly. The Substance, Honora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, and damn it, I had to do it, Challengers. I gave Challengers Original Screenplay nom partially because I think this might be the biggest category it gets nominated for. I wanted to be nominated for a lot more as I really love this movie, but I think this is going to be the highest honor it gets, and I think in this particular case, the nomination is the win. And, I think this is... I predict that one of those films that we mentioned earlier will be left out and Challengers will sneak in there.
Yeah.
And that's my prediction for that.
Well,
what about you, my friend?
Think this is the first category we have crossover.
Shut up.
I think it's a full... I have Honora, yep. Brutalist, yep. Real Pain, yep. Substance, yep. Challengers, yeah. We went 5 for 5
Boom.
on that one.
That's crazy.
How about that?
That is crazy.
Listen, again, we got sent the screenplay for Challengers. That thing is like 75, 80 pages, and when you're working on screenplay, it's roughly like a page a minute. This is like a 2-hour movie. That's how much fucking slow motion is in that. All for the better.
And I would not.
That is
remove
not
a frame.
That is not a derogatory statement. That
I would not remove a frame of it.
Substance getting nominated just makes me happy. I know it's a little wild of a movie, and I like to see it getting this sort of representation at this high of a caliber of an awards ceremony. Honestly, though, I thought Real Pain was I think my number 3 favorite movie this year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just a wonderful screenplay personally, and I'm excited to see. I think there's 2 categories where it has a real chance of winning, and I think it's the only 2 they'll be nominated in, and that's this and another one coming up.
We'll get to there in a minute. Next, let's do Best Cinematography, Nicholas.
Let's do it.
I believe you go first this time, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
But before you do, let's pull up the Guild Awards. This is fun. We're having fun.
Let's do it.
So, Best Cinematography at the BAFTAs are for The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, and Nosferatu. The nominations at the ASC Awards, which are done by cinematographers: Nosferatu, Wicked, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Maria, and A Complete Unknown. And last but not least, the Critics' Choice had for cinematography Nosferatu, Wicked, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and Nickel Boys. So we have some crossover, some, being left off for others. Nicholas, hit me with your picks.
I went with The Brutalist, shocker. Conclave, Dune Part 2, Maria, the Angelina Jolie Netflix movie, and Nosferatu. And I'll tell you why I sort of put Maria in there. And it's something that I've noticed over the past few years, because I made it a goal the last 2 years. I actually finally reached the goal last year to watch everything nominated for an Oscar. And the biggest hiccup is always cinematography and makeup and hairstyling. They always sneak in one where it's the only nomination.
Mm-hmm.
And Naiad, I think, only got 1 or 2. It was acting nominations last year. And then there was one movie that was shot by who directed Birdman?
Alejandro Iñárritu.
Yes, he had directed a foreign film 1 or 2 years ago, and it was the only nominated for cinematography. And I feel like that's going to happen with Maria.
Okay.
Angelina Jolie might sneak in with Best Actress, but that race got actually really
Best
competitive.
Actress is tough.
It got
That's a tough race.
competitive real fast, but I could see the cinematography sneaking in there for Maria. So I put that as sort of a wild card in the category because I've sort of seen that trend.
And listen, that's fair. I need to not that my brain went away. Maria does have great cinematography, and I think that having it in there is a solid choice. I ended up not going that route. I will go ahead and give you my picks now. And again, I'll do them slowly so you have time to type them, my friend.
Yes,
Let's
please.
see.
Oh, real quick, Dalton.
Yeah.
I think I mistyped an adapted screenplay. I have Wicked twice. Can you run through your adapted choices real quick?
Sing Sing.
Sing Sing.
Yep.
Apologies, that is on that.
No worries.
Brian in the chat, thank you for pointing that out.
Thank you, Brian.
I'm typing these live, so there are going to be errors.
Hey, you're doing a great job, buddy. You're doing a great job.
So, cinematography, I'm
Best
ready for you.
cinematography. Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, The Brutalist, Conclave, and Nickel Boys. The reason why I went with Nickel Boys over Maria, because I did think about putting Maria in there. I was pretty solidified in my other picks. I went with Nickel Boys because Nickel Boys is shot entirely in a POV perspective. And while sometimes, at least to me personally, a lot of people are loving this film, and rightfully so, it is a very good movie, I thought that the POV style was a bit of a hindrance for me personally, but there's no denying it looks gorgeous. And the way they do it allows something unique to be told through that POV style of storytelling. And I feel like one of the ways the Academy may recognize it is through this cinematography nomination. Maybe not, but my rationale for picking it is that reason. So
do you think Nosferatu will be sort of the wild card in that category then, where it's like that's the only nomination coming out for Nosferatu?
No, I think it's going to get a ton of technical categories.
Oh, you think so? I don't think I have it in a lot of technical.
Makeup, costumes, sound.
That's
I think it has a chance for a lot of them. Personally.
I guess I'm working in the context of our list.
In the context of our list, yes, but for like all of the awards, yeah, no, it'll get nominated for a few for sure.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, Nicholas. Now we're getting into the shit.
All right.
Best director.
Best director.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
But of course, before my turn, a message from the guilds. Best director. I'm sorry, guys. We're having fun. DGA. I apologize if I mispronounce any names. Jacques Ayudard for Emilia Perez. Sean Baker for Anora. Edward Berger for Conclave. Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. And James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. At the BAFTAs. Sean Baker for Anora. Brady Corbet, Complete Unknown. Edward Berger for Conclave, Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2, Jacques Agudard for Emilia Perez, and Coralie Fargeau for The Substance. Ayo. Now, for the Critics' Choice. I love providing context, Nicholas. It's a lost pastime. Jacques Agudard for Emilia Perez, Sean Baker for Anora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, John M. Chu for Wicked, Coralie Fargeau for The Substance, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys, and Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. Now that you have some context as to what we were working with, here are my picks for Best Director, my predictions. Here we go. I gotta make sure I can find it. There it is. Brady Corbet for The Brutalist. Edward Berger for Conclave. I'm making this very dramatic. Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part 2. Coralie Fargeau for The Substance, and Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. I don't think that's too nutty, considering the fact that these names have been popping up in a lot of places. But man, I had to leave some names off of this list that I was not convinced if I should leave them off. And there's actually a running argument for Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated, considering Dune Part 2 itself is just leaving steam. I have such a hard time believing that the Academy won't recognize the directorial efforts of that film. I don't see it happening. I'd be very surprised if he didn't get it, but I have seen the narrative running from that away from him. I think John M. Chu does have a shot. He has an outside shot of getting in, especially with Wicked that's going to be getting a lot of nominations. I just don't quite think he cracks the list. And I kind of put Ramel Ross and Nickel Boys both in directing and cinematography, Nick, because I feel like it's going to get at least one of them for its style and what it does. So to be safe, I put it for both just in case that happens. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm sorry for this thumbs up emoji. I can't get rid of the damn thing. But you are going hard at work on this list, and I want the good people to see your work. You're putting it
Sorry,
in,
I'm
buddy.
typing. My typing skills are not fast, but
Buddy,
I
you
did
are doing good.
had mine in. Sorry, I had to look up how to spell Corley Farjo.
That's okay. So the pick that was the hardest for me to leave off was Sean Baker for Honora.
Hmm.
I think that film is directed really well, but I think directorially it's not as strong as it is from a screenplay and editing
Yeah.
perspective. So I have a feeling that directorially it may not show up. And that could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. Trust me. By the way, guys, I want to point out we aren't that good at the nomination predictions. The winners we get very close, both of us. It's a tough battle every year. The nominations though, really hard. It's very difficult. And so hence we're doing what we're doing now. But Nicholas.
Yes, I did put what you said. I did put Sean Baker for Honora. I think Honora's been in the conversation since it came out. And I think that with all those, it's kind of like, right? If your movie's getting all these accolades, clearly the director has a hand in it. And I feel like very rarely they're not of the same merit, where the director doesn't match the accolades. So I feel like for that reason, especially when you have Mikey Madison, who's been a front runner a long time for
Mm-hmm.
best actress. A director and actors, they work hand in hand. It's not to say the actors don't have the merit on their own, but the director's guiding that story, and I think that's an important note in my book. I put Edward Berger for Conclave. Again, I thought that was just a fantastically directed movie from a pacing standpoint, from a cinematography, from the directing to the performances. Brady Corbert, The Brutalist, had to put my favorite movie on there. Denis Villeneuve, Dune Part Two, just for the cinema. Like my God, what a cinematic experience, and that's all credit to him. And I put Jock Audiard for Emilia Perez. Listen, as the trailer for Emilia Perez said, from legendary auteur Jacques Audiard. So I again was not a huge fan of that movie, but while I think the direction wasn't anything over the top crazy, I think he does have a solid chance to be at the running there.
I agree with you. And as someone who liked the movie a little bit more than you did,
Mhm.
I think that Coralie knocks him out just because the substance has been on a constant rise
Mhm.
in hype and building up steam. I think Emilia Perez is slowly dipping, and I feel like this category could be a place where we see that reflected. Again, these are all predictions. I could be completely fucking wrong, and then we look stupid. Either way, it's fun. It's always fun. Uh, my better half puts in the chat, no John M. Chu. No, I did not put John M. Chu. I don't think he could. I think he can. I think it's possible he gets nominated. She might storm in this room. I'm terrified. But I think that he has a chance at getting nominated. He does have a real shot. I just think that the competition is tough, and there's going to be some other people to beat there. But yeah. Yeah. Nicholas, my good man, let's move on to Best Supporting Actor.
Let's do it. I think I'm up, and I've already got mine pasted in there. So I'm going Kieran Culkin, Real Pain. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. I'm going Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing. I'm going Stanley Tucci for Conclave, and I'm going Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. Now,
I think this is where the fights are going to start.
this is where the fights are going to start. One,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Guy Pearce's or Kieran Culkin's to lose. I think that Guy Pearce gives one of the best supporting performances that I've seen in quite a long time in The Brutalist in that role. And in terms of supporting the main character, Adrian Brody, Laszlo Toth's story, how they play off each other as sort of foils, I think is integral to the story. And I think that he does a phenomenal job with it. However, Kieran Culkin, I think, is just a fucking bottle rocket in that movie. He comes in out of nowhere and just goes for it. And as I'm talking, I'm also realizing you'd like to go over the other awards first. But I've already started, so we
Listen,
got to double down here.
that's fine. I'll just go before mine, buddy. You're killing it right now.
That's fine. All right, Clarence Macklin coming in from Sing Sing. He is playing a version of himself, essentially, that benefited from the program that's centered around the movie. And I think having that sort of humanity and depth to it and the connection, I think is going to boost his chances significantly. Stanley Tucci, I thought knocked out a part of Conclave. I think he's a little bit. That may have been a that's for Nick choice to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
And Denzel Washington, I everyone is saying it's not going to happen. Everyone is saying it's not going to happen. It's Denzel fucking Washington. He's in a movie, he's going to get nominated. Anthony Hopkins can do whatever the fuck he wants and he's going to get a best actor nomination. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
Denzel in this movie. I think that he's the star of the movie and I think he deserves an Oscar nomination. That being said, I really do think looking at it though, I feel like it might be Guy Pearce's. I think Kieran Culkin's putting up a strong campaign, and I'd love to see it personally. It does have a tinge of category fraud to me. Like
Oh yeah.
he's a co-lead, and I don't know. It's
We'll
those
get
are
to
my thoughts.
category fraud and supporting actress
that
specifically.
that was a quick rant. I apologize.
No, listen.
I'm very passionate about this category specifically.
Oh, so am I. That's why it's about to fucking go down, buddy. But before we get to that, the guild, shall we? Okay, so from BAFTA,
I am the guild. The guild is me.
from BAFTA, you had Yor Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. For SAG, Jonathan Bailey for Wicked, Yor Borisov, Honora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice. And last but not least, Critics' Choice. For Best Supporting Actor, Yor Borisov, Honora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Denzel Washington for Gladiator 2. Now, the real picks, if you will. Well, we only have two that are similar, by the way. Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. I honestly think this is his award to lose. Guy Pearce for The Brutalist. Yor Borisov for Honora. Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown. And Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. A couple things with you, Nicholas, that we're going to fight about. While there are Academy members who look at Denzel and go, yes, Denzel, here's my vote. It has happened. And here's the thing. I think Denzel's great in the movie. He's great in the movie. He has lost all steam going into this awards race. The only guild that's nominated him, they're not even a guild, was the Critics' Choice Awards, and they give 6 options. I don't see him getting nominated at all. And look, I would love for you to laugh in my face come Thursday when they announce these and he gets nominated. I'd love it. Stanley Tucci, while he's great in the film also, he's also been losing steam. I can't see it. Where I would love to be wrong, Nick, I would love for you to be right about Clarence Macklin because he is phenomenal in Sing Sing. I would love to see him get nominated. But the proof's in my pudding. Kieran Culkin, it's his award to lose. Guy Pearce is incredible in the movie. Yor Borisov has been absolutely rising in the ranks. He's almost surpassing Mikey in terms of could he win this award. Edward Norton, while I thought he was good in Complete Unknown, he's just been showing up at all of these awards races and always being nominated. And here's the thing. With the fall of some of these people in terms of their hype, The Apprentice has been coming back strong, dude. And Jeremy Strong is amazing in that movie. And I think he's going to pop up. It
would be very interesting because his Succession brother is in there as well. And
yeah.
He's, the front runner on that too. And I think that would just be really funny too, especially I think what's interesting about that, right, is Jeremy Strong has been sort of always in the news of like sort of having those method actor, sort of odd acting tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
And like the art craft, the dedication. Then you hear like Kieran Culkin show up. He's like, yeah, I showed up. And then I read the script on the day. And then I just sort of like did the fucking thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And we just like, and I think it would be sort of like a last like knife in the heart. I'm sure they're very close after working on Succession, but
right.
it'd be funny to see like that versus it's like Daniel Day-Lewis going up against like an improver. So I not to compare Jeremy Strong to Daniel Day-Lewis. That might have been a bit extreme on my behalf.
Listen, they have similar methods. um,
They do. But I think I'm with you. I think it's Kieran's to lose ultimately.
listen, I need you to defend Denzel for me. I need you to defend it. I know that you talked about it. And listen, I just think that movie's lost all steam. I think the
I
movie itself is just done.
I think it lost all steam too. I think this one was just sort of a personal, like, this is for Nick type thing. He's Denzel Washington, you know.
You know
He's
what?
gonna act. That's literally the only. He's out there. He's doing phenomenal robe acting in Gladiator 2. He's
Road
got ring.
acting.
He's got rings. He's twisting. He's adjusting his robe. The whole. It was methodical the way he was moving this thing. There's no way he just showed up, didn't try to do anything. You're like, yeah, I guess this guy could exist in ancient Rome. Why not? I don't. I was just. It was one of those things where I think I'm just like Denzel's on the screen. I'm looking. Like he just sort of came in and he's like, nope, I'm who you're paying attention to now. And I think that just sort of charisma and energy, I don't know. I thought it was a great performance. I may have had a little more fun with it than others though.
Listen,
But I think there was a chance. I think supporting is a strong race this year. And I don't think, that might be one where I was just sort of a little biased. He might not ultimately have the steam, but I'd love to see it. And I feel like the Academy, how many times have we seen you're like, yeah, that performance
mhm.
over this one? And I feel like, and then you look at the caliber of the actor. Like I said before, Anthony Hopkins is in the movie. He's getting a Best Actor nomination. I feel like it could be the same with Denzel.
Tell that to Transformers 5 or whatever one he was in. Anyway, moving on to Best Supporting Actress. Whose turn is it to go first? Is it mine?
It's yours, so I'll let you do the DGA and other award nominations.
Thank you. The Guilds. SAG nominations for Best Supporting Actress. Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson. Ariana Grande for Wicked. And Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. At the BAFTAs, you had... excuse me. Selena Gomez, Amelia Perez. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. And Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. And at the Critics' Choice Awards, you had Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson, Anjanou Ellis-Taylor for Nickel Boys, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Margaret Qualley for The Substance, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. And now, for my picks for Best Supporting Actress. And again, I'll try to read them slowly for your typing hands, Nicholas. In the best case of category fraud of all time, Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. That's not to take away from her performance, by the way. She's absolutely great in the movie. Ariana Grande for Wicked. Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson, sight unseen. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist. And Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. That is where we're at. There were a couple different choices from the different guild nominations, as you guys saw. The reason why I went with these is I've heard Danielle Deadwyler's name just keep popping up, and I need to check out The Piano Lesson. So I went ahead and threw her in there. I love Ariana Grande and Wicked. I love Zoe Saldana and Amelia Perez. Felicity Jones and The Brutalist, I think, is the most underrated of all of these nominations. Her name hasn't really been in the conversation that much, but I feel like the Academy, it's going to be right up their alley because it's a great subdued performance. And for Monica Barbaro in Complete Unknown, she's just been on the rise. That whole movie, acting-wise, hence why I put Edward Norton in there as well, has been on the rise. And while personally I think Elle Fanning also belongs in the conversation, Monica Barbaro was great. I believe she also did her own singing. Hence, she snuck into that 5th spot for me. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Nick did a great job typing it all out there. And Nicholas, I quickly switched away so you can read out yours. Give it to me, my guy.
So I went with Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez as well. I do agree about the category fraud. And as I've said a bunch of times on this stream, I wasn't the biggest fan of Amelia Perez. That being said, Zoe Saldana knocks it out of the park. And if she
100%.
wins this, I think it is completely deserved. I think her performance is the strongest element of it. I put Jamie Lee Curtis for The Last Showgirl.
Okay.
Jamie Lee Curtis won, what, 2, 3 years ago for Everything Ever All at Once, which I don't necessarily agree with. She gives a great performance. I think that Stephanie Hsu, as the daughter in the movie, was the better performance.
Correct.
And I feel like she just has this sort of reputation in Hollywood that may just allow her to squeak in. Now, I watched Last Showgirl. It's a great performance. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's the strongest one out of this list, which is why I'm like, you know what? She's gonna do it, and she's gonna win it.
It's gonna
I
happen
feel like
again.
it's gonna happen twice. Fool me once. I put Isabella Rossellini for Conclave. I think she probably has the least amount of screen time.
It's an actual supporting performance.
It's an actual supporting performance. Which then maybe I can't discredit that. Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, probably, she comes into that second half of The Brutalist like an absolute wrecking ball, and just honestly knocks it out of the park. It is beautiful, it's devastating, it's emotional, it's raw, and I think she does an amazing job. And then Monica Barbaro, Sight Unseen for Complete Unknown, just because of how much steam that has been picking up. And I know the one that we're going to fight about right now is, in fact, Ariana Grande.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing?
I can't do it.
You are not nominating a sure thing. No, Nick, shut up. It's a sure thing.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Tell me why you can't nominate Ariana Grande. Why?
I didn't like Wicked enough, and I hate how much accolade it's getting.
But she's great. Her performance is great in it. I don't care how much you didn't like the movie. Her performance is excellent. It's an amazing comedic performance.
Okay, I have not seen Monica Barbaro, but of the 4 that I have seen, I think that I like all of them more than her in the movie. Oh, you got a bunch of fireworks going on. You're celebrating this. I don't discredit her comedic abilities, her singing abilities, and I did enjoy Wicked. I saw Wicked 3 times, folks. It just
Was each one by choice? Was each one by choice?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I like to hang out with people.
Dude, I can't fucking believe you're not nominating her.
But listen, I think costuming, I think set design, I think production design, I think Cynthia Erivo, absolutely. I think it is a surefire thing, probably, but I couldn't get past that hurdle. Like Selena Gomez was in the talks for supporting too for Amelia Perez. That's a bad performance. I'll say that.
But she fell off so quick in the race.
She fell off immediately.
Rightfully
Ariana Grande being in it, I feel like it's just the general concept.
Nick, you got to get past fucking general concepts. I'm so heated. Dude, listen. I think if Zoe Saldana doesn't win, I think Ariana is. I think she's runner-up to win this fucking award.
I know we're taking campaigns into effect. You're going to look me in the eyes and tell me that Ariana Grande, through the digital eyes, Ariana Grande gives a better performance supporting than Felicity Jones in The Brutalist.
Not what I'm saying. I'm saying based on hype, based on the campaign, and let's not take this into account. It's the only comedic performance on this list that stands out. It stands out to voters.
I would like to see drama get recognized.
They're going through drama after drama after drama, and we're talking about supporting actress. Look at supporting actor. What performance is going to win? Kieran, what's his performance?
Comedy.
It's comedy. It has a real shot. I do think it's going to go to Zoe Saldana. I do. Mm-hmm. But maybe the Academy pulls some crazy shit and they put her in lead, throwing the whole fucking thing off. That would be awesome.
That would be great to see, actually.
If Zoe Saldana does not walk away with this award, it's going to Ariana. It's going to Ariana. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. All right.
I couldn't put it for my own sanity.
Buddy. So let me, all right, I'm going to give you some playful shit here. I'm opening up the chart. You couldn't get over Ariana Grande for supporting actress, but the director of Amelia Perez gets in.
Yes.
Moving on to best actor.
It was well directed.
It was. You know the point I'm trying to make. It was. All right,
Listen, I probably have Amelia Perez on this chart more than Wicked.
that's insane to me.
I agree. I just
Buddy.
maybe maybe it's one of Amelia Perez got a lot of hate, and so I'm just trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. And Wicked got too much praise, so I'm overcorrecting.
All right, listen. First of all, that's your opinion. Secondly,
Listen, Jonathan Bailey came out of nowhere with a what was it, the DGA knob,
the SAG.
the SAG knob. So I mean, I was like, hold on, that now we're taking it too far.
Nick, you mean to tell me
I
that the
think we're.
Actors Guild was fond of musical theater?
I'm just saying we're dancing. We're dancing through life a little close to the sun. Is is all I'm. It's all I'm
Jesus
saying.
Christ. All right,
That's
fucking.
all I'm saying.
Here were the SAG nominees for Best Actor. God damn it. Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown. Daniel Craig for Queer. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. And Ray Fiennes for Conclave. Moving on to the BAFTAs. Oh man, I messed that up.
My first on this one?
I think so. BAFTA, leading actor, Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, Coleman Domingo, Ray Fiennes, Hugh Grant for Heretic, fuck yeah, Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice, and for Critics' Choice, Adrian Brody, Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Craig, Coleman Domingo, Ray Fiennes, Hugh Grant. Nicholas.
Hugh Grant for
Twice.
Heretic. All right.
Yeah. Hit me with your picks.
Twice?
Yeah.
2 heretics?
Heretics.
I went with Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. I went Timothée Chalamet for Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo Sing Sing, Ray Fiennes, or Ralph Fiennes, depending on how spicy you're feeling.
The fuck?
for Conclave. And I went Sebastian Stan for the Apprentice. Sebastian Stan was not on my radar for a while. I think he gives a great performance. I think I prefer his performance in Different Man.
True, but I think that's going to help his
Personally,
chances.
I think it's going to help his chances to have 2 solid ones on the radar, and I think the topicalness of The Apprentice is going to benefit his campaign. And he's really hasn't been campaigning much, which I feel like puts him in this sort of underdog stage. Ray Fiennes, I think, gives honestly, I might even just say my favorite performance from this year.
I'm going to switch out some camera stuff. You keep going.
Yep, you're good. Coleman Domingo from Sing Sing gives a really powerful, raw performance as this sort of person in prison who is sort of seeking healing through the arts. And I think he just gives a heart-wrenching performance. Timothée Chalamet, sight unseen. I still have not checked it out yet. I think that while I haven't seen it yet, it feels wrong that he's not being nominated for Dune 2. Dune Part 2, at least. You know, that scene, the whole I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides speech, that is literally made to be like an Oscar clip when they're reading the names out. But I digress. And Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. I think he does a phenomenal job. There is some stuff going on now with a company called Respeecher, where they had modified some of the performance for his Hungarian accent. There is still a bunch of information coming out about that. So whether it's true, whether it's false, really hasn't been shed to light at this time. But I think should it be true, that'll ultimately may end up hurting his chances in the race. I do think as it stands right now, if these nominations are correct, I think it's going to be a tight race between Adrian Brody and Timothée Chalamet. I do want to quickly just shout out, though, while Sebastian Stan gives a great performance in The Apprentice and Different Man, not Better Man, that's the monkey movie. He's been killing it with his outside of Marvel career, which is just great to see. You know, he's finding stuff that is really opening him in a lot of creative directions. He's taking risks, which I really appreciate, because now he can go back and be like, yes, I will also be in Thunderbolts and get my bag. Now I'm going to do this movie, and this movie. And
Nicholas,
he's great. He's great.
I apologize for how long that took.
You're good.
one died immediately as I put the battery in, so you love that.
Oh.
But, buddy, go ahead and copy and paste that shit because I have the exact same picks.
Oh boy, all right.
And your stalling was not for no reason, because I agree with everything you said. Now, something else I want to point out, though. I think Adrian Brody, in my opinion, gives the best performance on this list. With some of the controversy that's coming out, it could affect his chances of winning.
Mm-hmm.
Timothée Chalamet will probably be the one walking away with this award, but you also can't discount the fact that Ralph Fiennes has never won, and he's been nominated several times. This could be a career Oscar for him.
But Timothy Chalamet is just giving, honestly, a legendary Oscar campaign, you know?
Yes,
like him going
100%.
on College Game Day promoting, like his promotion for the movie has been phenomenal. He did an interview with Nardwar. And when you hear him actually talking about Bob Dylan, you're like, oh fuck, this guy did his research.
Yeah.
Lisan Al Gaib knows Bob Dylan.
Yes,
So
I also think he should have been looked at for Dune as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's a scissor. But again, it could be a Sebastian Stan situation where one is just helping lift the other.
Correct. And I think The Apprentice is rising in steam, like I did with Jeremy Strong. I think it is going to eventually go to Sebastian. Coleman Domingo also crushed it. So I would honestly be okay. This is one of the categories. If any one of these people won, I'd be happy with it, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Nicholas, let's move on to Best Actress. Is it your turn or my turn?
It is your turn because I just did it.
But first, the guilds. SAG for Best Actress nominees: Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, and Demi Moore for The Substance. The BAFTAs, however, hold for show. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon, Emilia Perez, Marine Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore for The Substance, and Saoirse Ronan for The Outrun. And Critics' Choice: Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Marine Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths, Angelina Jolie for Maria, Mikey Madison for Honora, and Demi Moore for The Substance. And now finally for my picks. We have Demi Moore for The Substance. She's been rising in the ranks, growing in steam, and you love to see it. You really love to see it. Mikey Madison for Honora. She gives a great performance. She's the command of that movie. She's been losing a lot of steam, though, and I don't think it's going to hurt her chances with a nomination, but I thought she might have been a front-runner to win, and now I'm kind of questioning that. Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. She gives a great performance, and her singing voice is unbelievable. She's amazing in the film. Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. I think she gives a great performance. You know, she has to play the current gender she identifies as and the gender that she no longer identifies as, and she did both performances exceptionally well. And my fifth spot, though, is a wild card. I'm giving it to Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Goes in my fifth spot. Now, you might be thinking, that was a Golden Globe nomination. The Golden Globes don't fucking matter at all. And you're right, they don't. But it put her on a huge platform to give a great speech, which she did. Same thing for Demi Moore. And ever since that speech, which is the only thing the Golden Globes are good for, is it's the first stop, not the first stop, but it's a big stop on your Oscar campaign if you win. And man, ever since then, you've seen her rise in the hype for that movie. We actually get this movie in 2 weeks, I believe, in Orlando, which I plan on going to see. But those are my picks for Best Actress. This was also a tough one. I had to leave off some names that I thought really had a chance of getting in. Dude, I'm going to be honest. I think Demi Moore might win this fucking award, which would be amazing because she's never even been nominated for an Oscar before. But, Nicholas, your picks for Best Actress.
My picks for Best Actress are going to be pretty similar, actually. So I have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. I have Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez. I've got Mikey Madison for Honora. I've got Demi Moore for The Substance. And then my wild card, as we call them, is Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. Again, I feel like in past Oscar years, there have been these sort of movies, like, again, I'll cite Nyad, where you had a supporting and a lead actress nominees, and those are the only ones I believe for it. And I feel like that's going to be this year with The Last Showgirl. I think Pamela Anderson gives an absolutely phenomenal performance in this. And I think that it'll be sort of this version of it where Pamela Anderson takes the actress nomination, Jamie Lee Curtis gets in supporting, and
Mm.
I would love to see it. It's not a Hollywood comeback story, but I think seeing Pamela Anderson nominated for an Oscar would just sort of, I don't know, it just would be a great story, and the Oscars love a good story. That's sort of my reasoning on it.
They do, and I would love to see Pamela Anderson get the nomination. I still need to see the film, but I've heard she's exceptional. My
Mhm.
worry is her and Demi Moore kind of have the same story, and
Mm.
will they go for it twice? Is kind of my question.
Mhm.
But also, I will say, it was tough leaving her off. I had a really hard time leaving off Angelina Jolie for Maria. Not
I
only
did too. I did
not
too.
only because she's exceptional in the movie, she's really good, but
Mhm.
also that director is 2 for 2 on getting his lead actress when he makes a movie about a historical woman. 2 for 2, they've gotten nominated, with Natalie Portman for Jackie and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. I'm predicting him to swing and miss this time and go 2 for 3, but precedent says they're going to get in.
That's a
So
hell of a niche he's working in, isn't
it's
it?
a hell of a niche, man.
Hell of
But
a
he's
niche.
killing it in there.
He's
He's killing
crushing
it
it.
in there.
Mhm.
But yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe all that's left is the big one, buddy.
It is. It is.
Okay. Let me do the guilds, if you don't mind. Best Picture. The PGA, Producers Guild of America, had these list of nominees: Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, A Real Pain, September 5, The Substance, and Wicked. The BAFTAs only do 5. They had Honora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, and Emilia Perez. Critics' Choice: A Complete Unknown, Honora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, The Substance, and Wicked. Is it my turn?
I believe it's my turn.
Nicholas, hit us with your picks.
I have The Brutalist. Shocker, that was my favorite movie from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Honora, which I spelled as Anona, which is incorrect.
You
A
know, it
Complete
happens, Chief.
Unknown. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of spelling errors on this one. My gosh. All
That's
right.
okay.
The
Guys,
Brutalist.
I went to school with him. I promise he did attend.
The Brutalist. Honora. A Complete Unknown. Conclave. Dune Part 2. A Real Pain. The Substance. Wicked. Amelia Perez and Sing Sing. I think my sort of
Boom.
random one in there, I guess, would be Real Pain. I don't know if it'll have the steam over something like, let's say, a Nickel Boys or something, but that one I think does have a chance, and it was one of my favorite movies last year, so I did want to have a little representation in there on the off chance I might be right.
Yeah, no, it for sure has a chance. It for sure has a chance. Um, That's a solid list. Mine is very similar. There's a couple small differences, but mine's very similar. And my
Hit me
picks
with it.
go as follows: Dune Part 2, The Brutalist, Honora, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, A Complete Unknown, The Substance, Sing Sing, and Nickel Boys. I did end up going with Nickel Boys on there. I figured I should, if I'm going to be consistent with the cinematography and director nomination, that I should put it with Best Picture. So it's kind of all or nothing. I kind of went in that direction with Nickel Boys. A lot of others liked the film a little bit more than I did, but it is still a very good film, and it's deserving to be in here along with these other films for the most part. And I gotta say, Nicholas, I'm okay with most of these movies winning. Honestly.
There's a few that I haven't seen yet that I definitely want to check out. I'll definitely, before the Oscars start, I'll make sure that I've seen all of at least the Best Picture nominations. But um, based on the ones that I have seen, I'm not disappointed by any except Amelia Perez and Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
I think those would kind of be a stretch for me personally, but
I
yeah.
wouldn't call Wicked a stretch for me. I'd call it Amelia Perez. Honestly, this may be a bit controversial to say, I wouldn't put Complete Unknown in there.
Oh.
It's a good movie. It's a
Yeah.
good movie. But like it's every musical biopic that you've seen. And I say that as a monster James Mangold fan. I love him. And I think even his Johnny Cash biopic, Walk the Line, was also a really good movie. But and again, I think it's a good film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Emilia Perez and Complete Unknown are the only ones where I'd be like, really, that one? And maybe Nickel Boys. Everything else, I'd be thrilled. Dude, if The Substance won Best Picture, I would freak the fuck out positively. If Sing Sing won Best Picture, I would be really moved by that. If Wicked won Best Picture, I would honestly think that's really cool. If Conclave and Anora, The Brutalist, and Dune all won, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. They're all great. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's a solid lineup, and I think I at least got 5 of them. I'm confident that I at least got 5 of these right, and I think that's good for that. Honestly, I think The Wild Robot belongs in here, but it's just not getting the buzz to get past animation, personally.
No, I agree. I thought Flow was that might have been my favorite.
I still need to watch it.
Flow's very good.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
I can't wait to watch it. And guys, in most situations, in most shows with the thumbnail that we have, that would be the end of our lovely show. And I think we did a great job. However, it's the beginning of the week, so that means it's time for the box office!
The box office.
Nicholas,
yes.
I'm putting you on the spot here because we did not rehearse this. Do you happen to have our predictions from last week?
I do. If you actually want to pull up the Excel sheet again, I'll type them in so people can take a look.
All right. I X out of it, but let me see if I can pull it back up.
That's fine. I'm happy to rattle them off. Dalton, you had Wolfman, Den of Thieves, Mufasa, Sonic 3, and Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy, that's me, had Wolfman, Den of Thieves, Sonic 3, Mufasa, and Moana 2. I kicked Nosferatu off.
Nicholas, in the history of us doing this show, I don't think either of us have been more wrong.
Oh.
I'm dead serious.
I'm scared.
I'm going to pull this up here. Here was the top 5 box office for the weekend. Coming in first was Mufasa, making $11.7 million, only dropping 18% from week 4 to week 5. One of Them Days came in second, making $11.6 million on its opening weekend, which, by the way, guys, we tried to do a review of that, but my camera died 4 times and I got frustrated. We will eventually get the review out, but I needed to cool my jets before going back into that. Wolfman came in third, making $10.9 million in its opening weekend. Sonic the Hedgehog came in fourth, making $8.6, dropping 24% from week 4 to week 5. Den of Thieves 2 came in fifth, making $6.8 million, only dropping 56% from week 1 to week 2. Yeah, that's an insane top 5. But there are a couple things of note to dive into. First, let's dive into Mufasa, Nicholas. It now has $588 million worldwide. 205 of it domestic. It's made 2.9 times that $200 million budget. Mufasa's well into profitability now, most likely. Good for them.
They're going to keep making them.
Yes, they will. One of Them Days has only opened domestic, so it still is only at 11.6, but it's only on a modest budget of 14. So if that movie has good word of mouth, we could see potentially it making some profitability there. It'll at least get that production budget back. Wolfman is at $15 million worldwide. I took from another source, I believe it was Variety, that it was made on a budget of 25. So not quite at that number yet for box office, but I think it'll get there. It just depends on how much longer it can stay in the box office. Sonic the Hedgehog has $419 million worldwide. It has less worldwide than Mufasa now, despite opening much higher, but domestically it does still have more with 216 compared to Mufasa's 205. It's made 3.4 times that budget. We knew Sonic 4 was happening from the announcement, but if we didn't know, we definitely would have known by now. Den of Thieves 2 has made $31 million worldwide, and I believe I took from another source that it has a budget of 40, so not quite at that number that it needs to be at, but, again, if it stays in there, we could see it happen. You never know. Big important thing of note, Nicholas. Moana 2 has officially crossed the $1 billion mark, making it the third film of 2024 to cross $1 billion for something that was supposed to go direct to
And
Disney+.
making $1 billion more than it ever would have made.
Yeah, Bob Iger stepped in when he came back and said, "What the fuck are you guys doing?"
All that means is Moana 3 is probably definitely happening, especially with the live action movie coming out soon. And
Yes.
it'll probably be developed not as a TV series, so we might actually get maybe a better story going on. I don't know.
Correct. Dude, Nosferatu now has $155 million worldwide on a budget of 89.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. A Complete Unknown for a musical biopic has $57 million, and it's only open domestic. That's actually excellent for this type of film in the modern film-going era, particularly for the target audience of that film. Dude, look at Wicked. $700 million across it. And I think it could have even gone even more had they not immediately put it on PVOD. Now, Universal did celebrate saying that it made like $70 million or whatever. It would have made $70 million if you kept it in theaters longer anyway. People were just excited to see it at home. I don't think that the number of weeks it was in had anything to do with it. Studios pissed me off, Nicholas.
So you got technically in terms of placement, I think just one correct with Sonic at 4th.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Ooh, you hate to see it.
You really do. You really do. But guys, that's the box office. Nicholas, do you want to do predictions for next weekend?
Yeah, what do we got coming out next weekend? I don't know what do we got?
Well, I know Presence comes out, but I don't know how well it's going to do exactly. Let's see. Excuse me as I pull up my AMC app on my phone, everybody. Doing these things live, you get the good stuff.
Are you an A-lister, perchance?
You can't just say perchance.
Can't just say perchance.
Let's see. This weekend, we have Presence, Flight Risk, and some other indie films. Dude, Flight Risk might get in there. All right, fuck it. Here are my predictions.
Hit me with it.
Why the fuck not? Let's go Mufasa again. Number 1. Let's go Flight Risk number 2. Let's go One of Them Days number 3. Presence number 4. Wolfman number 5.
All right.
It was probably dumb to not put Sonic in there, but oh well.
I'm going to go Mufasa. I'm going to go Present. No, I am going to go Flight Risk.
Okay.
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, you know?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go Presence. I'm going to go Wolfman, and I'm going to go Sonic 3.
You have One of Them Days dropping out completely.
I do. It is getting good word of mouth, which might be the risk of it, but it also might be a case of it just drops off and loses steam. I don't know. It could go either way. I'm going to take the gamble on it. You know, we don't do these predictions to be safe. We do these predictions to have a good time.
That's right. We're just having fun, and the gobsmacked looks when we're wrong. Although what makes it funny is when we're right, I'm way more excited about it than I should be because I'm never correct on these.
It's rare. It's a rarity that we get them all right.
Yes. But guys, with that down, thank you so much for joining us. If you joined us live, thank you for listening to us on the audio only. If you want to listen to audio only, it'll be up tomorrow morning. Also, what are your Oscar predictions? We'd love to see them down in the comments below. And box office wise, if you put in your top 5 prediction and you're right, we'll shout you out on the show. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna try to do a live reaction show on Thursday morning for the Academy Award announcements. I'm saying try because I don't want to hard commit in case of technical difficulties. However, I feel like it'll be fine. I feel like we'll do fine, guys. I'll have to end that stream as soon as the announcements are over because I have to go to work, but we're going to make it happen. And then we'll be breaking down the actual Oscar nominations on the Friday live stream at 6:30 Eastern, so make sure you join us for that. With that down, thank you guys, as always, so much for watching, and we will see you